Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at SeatGeek, the best and easiest to use ticket platform out there. They take the confusion out of buying tickets using a 0 to 10 scoring system and a green is good, red is bad color rating system so you and your loved ones get the best deal possible. So whether it's going to see our beloved Redlegs at Great American Ballpark, the Bengals over at Paycor, FC Cincinnati, one of the area college teams, or pretty much anything in between, use promo code Riverfront at checkout and receive $20 off your first order. Click the link in the show notes to download the app and get started. That's Riverfront, one word, for $20 off.
Hello, everybody.
What up, what up, what up?
We got it right this week.
Yeah, we did, man. Dude, we hit the Nate Dodson is dashing, by the way. Next time I see him, he's a dashing man. But he hit the SeatGeek thing. We got our intro. Hey, we're back on track. Let's go.
Back on track. It only took 3 weeks of all-season baseball.
We are rolling.
Good. Yeah, Sydney literally in here. Let's see how the opening goes. We nailed it.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Steven,
Sid. Thank you.
Thanks for playing the intro this time.
Hey, we are back on track. Let's go.
Back on track. And Steven, I'm going to send you a text message later. I need to get you on the show next week. So if you're available, holla at your boy. But my name is Tim Daniel. His name is Ben Brown. And welcome to this week's edition of Late Night Reds as we continue our position by position series. We're talking about the bullpen today because who doesn't want to talk about the bullpen, right?
Let's go. Absolutely.
Yeah. The third week of the offseason. It's a necessity if we're going to go position by position. So
hey, we're in it, baby. We're in it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We're in it. So it is kind of weird that I don't have to do the SeatGeek promo this week since Nate did it for us. So that's pretty nice.
I'm gonna start calling him Dashing Nate Dodson.
Dashing Nate Dodson?
You know, like Dashing Cody Rhodes. Remember that one?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Dashing Nate Dodson.
Yeah. Well, if you feed his ego, he might actually get hair on his head. So he called me out for my bald joke last week, so I had to make sure I got him again.
Man. Yeah.
So
no doubt.
All good in the hood. But before we do get to everything, I do, of course, want to make sure we shout out our Patreon fam who put this all together for us. Patreon.com/RiverfrontCincy. If you're not a member yet, now's the time to be. Having a lot of fun out there. I mean, where else can you go talk about how the Bengals bye week went as doo-doo can get? Where else can you talk about Victor Wembanyama's 30-foot Inspector Gadget arms and the Cincinnati Reds all in one place other than the Riverfront Patreon?
Man, you bring up Wembanyama, like I've full disclosure. I was telling Tim, we're in like the last parts of our football season. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. Things are crazy, and I very rarely get to catch a few things. But I watched him. He just happened to pop up. The Golden State game was on, and that guy is just freakishly long and athletic, and the things he's able to do are just insane. Like it's weird. It's really weird to watch him play, but he's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, you guys got another win this week. I saw
Yeah,
Isaac.
man.
I saw Isaac got a pick. That was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, man, it was cool. So it was a big district win for us. It secured a home playoff game. So in 2 weeks, we'll have a home playoff games against Martha Lane Collins High School. So super excited about that against a really good Dixie team, man. A Dixie team that they gave us fits. I mean, they're super physical, super athletic, and we were happy that we didn't play our greatest game, but we played well enough to win. So take quotes from Zach Taylor. It's better to win ugly than, you know what I mean, win pretty. So we'll take them any way we can get them now these days. So it was good stuff.
Speaking of physical and super athletic, I went and saw Kiss on Thursday night.
Oh, how was that?
Awesome.
Dude, I need to do that. Kiss is one of my secretly favorite groups.
Really? I've known
dude.
you for a long time. I never knew this.
Yeah, I get down with some Kiss. I like Kiss. They're one of those groups that, like, if I'm riding around solo, like you may catch me listen to some Kiss. Like I do enjoy some Kiss.
Can see Ben just driving around bumping the Detroit Rock City.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. Also a great movie, by the way.
Yes, it is.
But before we lose all of our listeners for the night, let's go ahead and get real quick. This is where we're at now. Currently in the top of the fourth, it's 1-1 in Game 6 of the ALCS between the Astros and the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been fascinating. And then on the other end, tomorrow we have Game 6 of the Phillies and Diamondbacks series. I want to see the Phillies. I mean, I love the Diamondbacks. I really enjoyed, but the Phillies are so freaking fun, and I would love to see them get back to the series, man. But a Rangers Diamondbacks World Series would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be. I like the Phillies because I just feel like any team that goes up there and just tries to hit tanks, I love. That's the whole game plan. They're like,
they play like a beer league softball team.
Yeah, they're like, we ain't playing singles. Forget that. Hitting, stealing, hitting, and running. Forget all that crap. We just hit bombs. That's what we do. So like any team that gets up there a beer league just trying to hit tanks, like there's no reason why you would have Kyle Schwarber on your team, but to hit tanks out this way. Like, he does not do anything well for you defensively. He's not gonna move a runner from second to third with a pop fly. That's not his job. His job is to hit taters. So watching them guys just hit bombs is a lot of fun. So I would I want to see the Phillies make it.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, did you know that Kyle Schwarber's from Middletown?
Yeah, you know what? We met Kyle Schwarber because he was a Cincinnati Flame, and my kid played for the Flames, and he actually came and did a meet and greet with our kids when we were at 10U. If I search back through my phone far enough, I bet I have a picture with Isaac with Kyle Schwarber.
How about that?
Pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, we got a chance to meet him. I was 10U, so it was probably 6 years ago. He was a good dude.
Yeah.
Came in, spoke to the kids, actually had a really good message.
Former Indiana Hoosier.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But just figure we had to make sure Kyle Schwarber was mentioned on a Cincinnati-based show. So we had to make sure we mentioned that he was from Middletown. Oh, and the Rangers just took a 2-run lead. So
just like that.
Just like that. See, Aroldis Chapman once again won a World Series for being a middle of the year trade candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Let's check this out real quick because this was announced today, this weekend. A little Friday, I guess. Whew. But how about Spencer Steer and Matt McLain? First team all rookie, which I didn't realize baseball actually had.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So that's pretty awesome. Steer making as a DH, McLain making as the second baseman. Shout out our boys doing big things. We talked about them all year, but they were probably the two best positional players in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at some point, one of those guys carried us offensively,
right?
One or the other. I mean, they were incredible all year. Our season started to take a down, like not really a downturn, but our playoff chances became less likely when Matt McLain got hurt because he was one of the two guys that we knew that consistently would go 1 for 3 or 2 for 4 with an RBI in our lineup. And once he went down, our lineup kind of took a turn for the worse. So super cool to see them guys get recognized. We said that all year that we thought that Steer or McLain before he got hurt should have been up for Rookie of the Year, and it was cool to see them get that recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was Jonah Heim hitting a 2-run bomb. Mitch Garver was on the bases. So
okay.
So Mitch Garver putting a stamp. This is the Mitch Garver game. He hit the homer in the first inning.
I was going to say he did hit the home run in the first inning.
Yeah. So I think that's going to put him out of the Reds' potential buying candidacy. So
yeah.
By the way, before we get into this bullpen talk that I know everyone's just dying to hear, local Luke, you like it? I'm excited.
I love it. I sent it to you as soon as I saw the tweet go out, man. I sent it right to you. I was very happy. I know we had talked about that before, about him being a great option for us, either as a backup or a semi-starter guy as a catcher. And we talked about it. There's not a whole lot of catching options out there where you can go out and get a guy that's as reliable as he is behind the plate, not only defensively, but his bat is not bad. I mean, he's going to be a 235 to 250 hitter, and he's going to do the things that you need him to do as a backup catcher. So great signing by the Reds. And he's a local kid, which is really cool to see. So they made the right move with signing a local Luke.
Yeah, I feel like when I look back at local Luke's season, you mentioned 235 in that area. It's probably going to be who he is. But like, I feel like that 235 was anytime they needed something.
Yep.
So there's there's that Cleveland game when they're still in the hunt the last week of the year, and he has a huge couple 3-hit game. It was he kind of always put those kind of games together when he did get hits. So I think it's a good move. Like we said, I mean, I think just running it back with those two with what the market looks like, because I don't think many teams are going to be trading catchers at the winter meetings. So
no, and like we talked about, like we talked about before, like the catching position is so, I mean, it's so sporadic. Like it's very rare where you're just going to get a catcher that's going to dominate your batting order or dominate your lineup. So to have two guys that are pretty reliable, like Tyler Stevenson had a down year, but he's still a top tier catcher as far as, batting. His fielding isn't the greatest, but he's still one of those guys that, it's hard to find those type of guys with that kind of consistency. So I like that. I like that they did that.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, let's get into a little bullpen conversation, baby, because why wouldn't we?
Time to go. Warm it up.
First things first, when we get into this conversation, I demand the bullpen car makes its return. I know Great American Ballpark is not necessarily, it's basically a hop and a skip from the bullpen round, but come on now. I think every stadium should have one. Like even like the Giants where they forgot to put the bullpens in the stadium and it's like on the first everyone should
I you know what, the bullpen car was phenomenal. And the bullpen car was awesome because they always had the bullpen car, and the guy coming out of the bullpen always had that big heavy jacket on, trying to stay warm to come in. They need to bring I want the big heavy starter jackets in the bullpen car. That's dope. When he come in, take off his jacket, get good and warm.
I love it. So I'm all in for that. By the
Absolutely.
way, I noticed with my sweatshirt today, I'm rocking the house. Never knew this about you since you told me earlier you're a Kiss guy, and I didn't know this. What house are you?
Oh, hold on. Let me think.
This is a serious question, by the way.
I know. Let me get back to you on it. It's
anyone in the chat who knows how this goes and has taken those like random ass BuzzFeed personality quizzes, please let us know what you think about what house Ben Brown is in the Hogwarts. So very important information. Very important. It may have something to do with our Halloween episode next week. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's get into this, evaluating the Reds bullpen. And so look, let's go with the preface like we always do with these. We understand these numbers can be a little wonky. This is obviously a team that had a really bad stretch post All-Star break. We're pretty darn good for a long time. But overall, so 16th in the league in ERA, so about league average. We're first in the league in saves because that man right there is elite at his job, being Alexis Diaz. 21st in the league in hits, 19th in earned runs, and 21st overall on WHIP. I was not able to necessarily find the percentage of inherited runners they let score, but I would have to say it's probably about a 97.12%.
Yeah, I was going to say it's pretty high.
Yeah,
pretty high. Pretty high.
So Sydney's Hufflepuff. Okay, I dig it. Grace is too.
Okay.
We got that going on. So there was that, and I think if you look at when let's kind of go through back. So we talked about starting pitching and just how little innings they threw in times. The bullpen really did their thing for a good stretch of the year, but we all kind of knew all these guys were kind of pitching over their head, right? I mean, we knew that this was something where, you look at the Derek Laws, who Chad and Nate always joke about. If you saw him on the street, the last thing you would think was professional athlete. And I totally agree with that. Derek Law, Ian Jabot, who I know looked like his numbers looked good, but it was a lot of like, all right, we're relying on Ian Jabot.
When we talked about an inherited runner number,
yeah,
his was probably pretty high.
Right. Yeah. So there was that. And then, Lucas Sims had an up and down year. So kind of curious. We're going to get into that a little later, like what everyone's kind of situation looks like, because they're all arbitration eligible still going into this, whether it's Alexis Diaz is pre-arbitration. So he still is going to be the greatest bargain in baseball as far as a bullpen pitcher for another couple of years. So we'll kind of get to that real quick. But here is bullpen IL stints. There's a lot of them. And this is just the key names. I didn't get into like everybody. So CJ Antone, as we know, missed majority of the year with Tommy John recovery from 2021. Looked really, really good before he kind of looked like aggravated again. Fernando Cruz, who is on the IL from April 30th to May 26th, and once again from September 1st to September 8th. Really liked what he did this year. Derek Law was on the IL from the start of the season until July 2nd. Casey Legumina was on the IL from May 14th to June 11th, and then June 21st to September 4th. They sent him to Louisville, and then he came up the last week of the season. So is that Reaver San Martin from May 9th, which is not his height. It was May 9th. And then Lucas Simpson to start the season until April 16th, and Alex Young from August 26th to 9/18. So as we talk about what all they kind of did this year, this kind of something where we got to give these guys their flowers a little bit too, because, and this is where I got to give Jabot some credit, because he literally did not miss. He pitched the most games of anyone in baseball, and he did not go to the IL at all. Alexis Diaz looked gassed at times this year, but did not go to the IL. So that's just that's kind of one of those things that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, as much as we talk about Jabot, I mean, he was a guy that for good, bad, or indifferent was reliable as far as he's going to be there every game. He's going to be a guy that never put a stint on the IL. He was a guy that would come in horrible situations. He was a guy that would come in great situations. He was steadily and consistently, good, bad, or indifferent. He was a guy that you could always bring in and give you something. Yeah. So, props to him for that. And of course, we already talked about what Alexis Diaz meant. I mean, he was our lone all-star, a guy that came in and got some really, really big saves. 2-inning saves, 4-out saves. He came in and did his thing and was an all-star. So, and to his credit, you could tell towards the end of the year, dude, he was sauced. I mean, he was done. I mean,
he was.
You could. You really could. I mean, you could tell he was done, and he just gutted through it. Trying to get outs, trying to help his team get wins, and big ups to him. I mean, because you could tell with about I would say with about a month to go left in the season, dude, he was done. He was done, and the Reds relied on him a lot.
Yeah, they did. I went to the game, so I went to the last home game of the year against the Pirates. They brought Diaz in the 8th, and I'm like, oh, cool. He's gonna go get like a two-inning save. We're gonna be good here. It's cool. They brought Jabot in to pitch the 9th, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I couldn't even believe it. Yeah, I think that he's obviously the core. He's the centerpiece of the bullpen, and rightfully so. And you mentioned solo all-star was definitely relied on a lot this year. But knowing you have that, knowing that you have this guy that's like, I know I can rely on him 90% of the time to get 3 outs. Maybe that's an exaggeration because it's baseball, but good amount of the time they get the 3 outs I need him to get. I feel like if you're like a guy who, when these situations come up where they can have additional players and additional bullpen spots come up, we're gonna get to a couple names later. One of them, if they for sure were to sign, I'd be pissed off about it because I'm all for teams spending money and make the team better. But one of these names, I'm like, please don't. It is not Trevor Bauer. Don't worry, guys. I'm not ever gonna mention.
We're past that train. We're
Yeah.
past that. We're past that train.
But I feel like when you looked at like when Chapman was so dominant in 2012, it was like, well, there was Sean Marshall was there, they traded for Jonathan Broxton. You were like, all right, cool. Like those are our three dudes.
Yep.
So it's gonna be really fascinating. But
yeah,
I'm so excited to see how Alexis Diaz continues to get better because he was the guy at the beginning of the year. Everyone was like, maybe they'll trade him. Like maybe they'll trade him to the Mets or somebody, and he can go like fill in for Edwin while Edwin's out. And I was like, maybe Edwin wants to come here and pitch for a better, for a better
exactly,
team.
Exactly. And you know, the good thing about Alexis Diaz is that he has already shown and proven that he's got the stuff to get people out. And it'll be the Reds' job to put other people around him in order so that he can come in and actually, you know, pitch a little less, but get quality outs and get quality saves like he's been able to do. You know, the best part when the Reds are good, like you said, when you had Chapman and Broxton and those guys around him that were able to get those eighth inning outs or possibly even save you from having to go in to do, you know, to get a save and use different people on different nights. It saves that guy, and it only helped Chapman that year to stay strong and be competitive every outing. So it'll be up to the Reds to bring somebody in to be like, okay, Alexis Diaz is great, but we can't have him gassed at the beginning of September when we're starting to make a run. We need to have guys around him to be able to get outs when we need to, if he needs a day or if he needs a night off or needs whatever. We got to have other guys that can get outs.
Wasn't it like July that year when Chapman gave up his first run? It was something insane. Maybe middle of June.
It was early July, I think. Like it was insane. It was, he was just lights out.
Yeah. Sydney asks if Hunter Strickland available. As a matter of fact, Spot Track does have him listed currently as an unrestricted free agent.
Ooh.
No, we did that before. Good. I think the current person wearing 54, Colin Cowgill, was better for the Reds than Hunter Strickland was wearing 54 last year. So, but we're saving that for Sonny Gray when he comes back next year, right? So,
yay.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking into existence, Tim. Speaking into existence. That's what we do here.
That's what I try to do. You want to see the funniest list of the bullpen for the 2023 season? All these guys made appearances for the Reds this year. Let's just go through the list, shall we? Sure. Number 1, Ricky Karcher. Well, legendary all-time Ricky Karcher. He may only have one appearance ever in the majors, but we will never, ever, ever forget the night. It's like the 18-inning game in Philadelphia when Wilson Valdez was the pitcher for the Phillies that got the win. That's what the Ricky Karcher night's going to be like in Kansas City.
Was. Yeah. It was magical.
It
was magical.
And topped off, icing on the cake, just the post-game press conference with Jim Day, the post-game interview with Jim Day. When he friggin' says, when he just goes, holy shit, you see Jim Day go. All time.
Oh, man.
Alec Mills pitched, I think, a game for the Reds this year. Randy Wim, Michael Mario, Jake Wong, Joel Kuhnel, Chasen Shreve, Tony Santillan, Connor Overton, Levi Stout, Silvino Bracho, Alan Busevich, Eduardo Salazar, Casey Legumina, TJ Antone, and Kevin Herget. All made, I think this is like when I put this together, it was like very, very small amounts of appearances for this Reds bullpen this year. How many of these names do you think we'll remember in 4 years? Take Antone out of it and take Karcher out of it because that'll live on forever.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a rough list, man. That's a really rough list.
Yeah. Tony Santillan, I'll remember because he was pretty decent. His 1 year he was actually on the team in 2021. Before they made all the changes as far as like, defense and stuff. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Joel Kuhnel has a name that kind of sticks in my brain because I don't know any better and I play Immaculate Grid too much. Connor Overton will always remember for those 2 great starts against the Pirates in 2022. Levi Stout, I think, will probably be more I know Carrick's in the chat tonight. He could probably tell more than I can, but I could definitely see him kind of getting more of a starting role in Louisville next year. Because that's, he did come up and make a couple starts this year as a spot starter for the team. Silvino Braccio was like a guy they just couldn't quit. It was like anytime they needed an arm to come up, they called him. Same with Bucevic, and then I don't think I'm saying his name right. And I like Casey Legamina. I do like him. I think he's pretty decent. But yeah, that's a list, man. That is a list.
A who's who.
Yeah. I mean, we've had these in the past. So like what was it last year? They had pretty similar, kind of like a revolving door of like WTF guys. But I think that also, when we look at everything big picture, got to give some props, right? This team won 82 games with that.
Was 1 day away from making the playoffs. I mean, we didn't know our fate until 161. So I mean, we battled through with a who's who of relievers.
Yeah, man, like probably 14 guys that couldn't pick out of a police line. And I watched. I'd say I watched about 159 of those games. So, I mean, it's pretty wild. Carrick says he thinks Sal will end up as a reliever. Not sure if they move him this year, though. I could see that. That's one of the things I was going to bring up here as well. So here's the salary situation for everyone. So pre-arbitration as far as guys who made a pitch appearance to the bullpen. So Alexis Diaz, Sam Mole, Ian Jabot, Daniel Duarte, Casey Legamina, Reaver San Martin, Lyon Richardson, Levi Stout, all pre-arbitration this year. Alex Young is in arbitration 1. TJ Antone and Derek Law in arbitration 2, and Lucas Sims in arbitration 3. Let's talk about Lucas Sims, because this is a guy who definitely, I mean, I really like. I think has been really good for the most part. And I know every bullpen guy kind of goes through that like roller coaster of like being successful or not. His roller coaster seemed to be pretty lengthy at times this year.
Yeah.
Where are you on him? Because he's obviously going to be the most expensive guy in the pen next year. But I think he's worth a shot at coming back next year for sure.
Yeah. My only issue is that
it might be insulting that I put it that way, actually, but
right. No. I don't think so. My only issue with Lucas Sims is that I feel like we're always on that roller coaster, and he struggles to be consistent. So it's like, do you pay the money to a guy that struggles to be consistent and the roller coaster is always up and down, or do you go out and find somebody that can be consistent?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of at. Like if they re-sign him, I won't be mad. Like I'm like, okay, you re-sign Lucas Sims. I think he's, I think he will do the job. But is it something where you think you can find somebody and pay them the equal amount of money that you're going to pay him, but there's more consistency? Is that out there? I don't know. I don't know. But if they paid him, I wouldn't be upset about it. I think Lucas Sims, I hope that he would be able to get better as his, as the more he pitches.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's going to come down to who's available, how much money the Reds want to spend. And if they feel like that number comes into where they want to spend, then they'll sign him. If not, then I think they can find somebody that could show some more consistency and move on from Lucas Sims.
Yeah, I'm with you, because if there was like stretches where he was really, really bad this year, but this is his last 15 games, his last 15 appearances this season.
Yeah.
3-0, a .68 ERA.
Ooh.
Got a save in there, pitched 13 in the third innings, 7 hits, 11 strikeouts, 7 walks, had a whip about 1.05. So, yes, when you look at that, that's saying like, please make sure this guy is you're an extended past his final arbitration year, get a 2 or 3 year contract in there. But then you get like the Lucas Sims we saw in August, where it was not very good,
where you couldn't buy it out.
Yeah, I lean towards this. I think he's also one of those guys that probably would not have looked the best if we could pull up the inherited run percentage. But
I'm with you. I mean, I do agree with that. Like, if he can give us what he showed those last 15 games, then like absolutely he's worth it.
Yeah.
But like we talked about, if we get in August, early September, and he was, boo boo, as we put it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be mad if we did re-sign him, because I do think he has his potential is there to be a really good reliever if he can just stay consistent.
Yeah, and I think one of the we'll talk about something here in a second, but I know Ben Lively kind of got options, and it looks like, but I think that's pretty good news for the Reds that he cleared. So
Yeah.
I could definitely see him probably being in the bullpen next year if he's on the team, which we talked about a little bit last week with the rotation. But I think Diaz, no doubt about it. Obviously, Sam Moll was really, really good after the trade.
Absolutely.
Really, really good. Which I think kind of cancels out the need for Alex Young, though I do think they need another lefty. Alex Young was one of those guys that was very looked really, really good for a stretch and then was woof. Where are you on TJ Antone? Because I think I'm in the market of, I believe you give him a shot because of how good he is.
Honestly, I think you have to give him a shot and give him a full year of being able to pitch. Just because, he's coming off that surgery. I mean, that surgery is a rough surgery for a guy that throws as hard as he does. So
yeah,
he's coming off that surgery. He tried to come back this year. I think it takes a full year of off season, a full year of all that stuff to fully give yourself back. His stuff is electric. I mean, his stuff is electric.
Yeah,
so
and
I
he was
think
really good that very short time he was back on the big league club this year.
Yeah. So I think that you have to give him the opportunity to come back, because his stuff is incredible. And I think that with another full off season, with not being injured and being able to train and do all the things that he's normally used to doing, I think he could be really good.
Yeah. Derek Law, thanks. We appreciate what you did.
I'm going to say that's a sell for me, playa.
Same. We talked about Jabot. I think Jabot will be back. I just, just because of the situation. Daniel Duarte, I thought was pretty okay for the most part this year. Reaver, bro,
I can't see it.
Until you're on the field for a month and a half consistently.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. Richardson's a kind of an interesting situation because I could see him kind of being a swing guy as well. Yeah, so I think, Carrick said earlier, guys he thinks are back. I'll pull this up real quick, and I think he's right. Diaz, Fernando Cruz, Ian Jabot, Sam Moll, Lucas Sims. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't love Ian Jabot, as I've mentioned many times on this show this week. Not the most trustworthy guy, but kind of curious to see, because what's minor league bullpen guys isn't necessarily something that sounds super sexy, right? Like you're not except for Alexis Diaz, of course. Like Aroldis Chapman came up as a starter in the minors, and so there are guys that do it, but a lot of them are converted starters. So curious to see what that's going to look like. But there's also this possibility. Before we get into this and anyone gets mad at us, I'm strictly going to say possibility here. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying I would do this.
Right.
But these are names who've come up in this conversation. So who could go to the bullpen? Right.
Listen, we're going to preface. These are our thoughts. Like this is not set in stone. This is not sent to us by the Reds. We are just giving our opinion.
And I'm asking for interaction from our listeners.
Absolutely.
To get their thoughts on it as well.
Speak up.
Yeah. So this is who could go to the bullpen from the rotation this year, just because guys are coming up. I mean, we just talked about Chase Petty last week. We just talked about Rhett Lauder, Ty Floyd. Like those dudes are coming up. So what's that rotation look like here in a couple years? And like if they sign a guy like we talked about, like what's that going to look like? So could any of these guys go from the bullpen to the rotation? Is probably a better mention.
Yeah.
So, I see Sydney says Hunter Green is missing from switching to the pen. We are just going to go ahead and cancel that conversation out. He got his money. He's one of 3 guys currently on contract for next year. Well, 4 technically if you count Votto and Casali. We obviously know how that's going to go.
Right.
I can't imagine a situation where Kirk Casali is back on the big league roster next year, but that's a conversation for next week when we do the catchers.
Right.
All right. So potential names could go from the bullpen to the rotation. Brandon Williamson might just be a situation where there's just too many guys. I think he's a good major league pitcher. I think he was really, really good in stretches this year. I'm a fan of his. For a guy who looked like who kind of had that situation. Nick Lodolo, I am definitely not one who thinks he's going to end up in the rotation. I mean, in the bullpen. Too damn good. I just want him to be healthy because I think when he's healthy, he's very awesome. Graham Ashcraft, maybe a bullpen guy who can just get a ton of ground ball outs. I think he's a rotation guy but interesting. Does Connor Phillips counter Graham Ashcraft on this? And does Connor Phillips become a starter? Because I think Phillips is a starter.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, dude, there's a lot of arms. I mean, we're going to have to make some moves somewhere. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then you got Lyon Richardson and Levi Stout. So depending how that shakes up, it's going to be really, really fascinating. Carrick says I wouldn't move any of them this year. It just depends on who they sign.
Right. That's the biggest thing is that seeing who we sign.
If they sign really should be the biggest question. But that's not what I'm not dogging on the front office.
Nope.
I'm just realizing everything we say with Reds fans, like Twitter is insane now. Like I can't get on there because
we're not dogging the front office. We're just stating our opinions, guys. You know what I mean? Like this is what we do.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it does. A lot of it does depend on who we sign and what kind of moves we make or trades or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of things out there. But I think Graham Ashcraft, I think, is a pretty good option for the bullpen. He's a guy that can give you a long relief stint. Not saying that he's not a rotation guy. I'm not saying that. Right. But I'm saying if you want to move a guy who's going to get you ground ball outs, who can give you 2.5, 3 innings in a bullpen type situation where you need it, where a guy comes in, say your starter doesn't go as long. You need a guy for the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Graham Ashcraft is perfect. He's going to give you ground ball outs. He's a converted starter, so he can go long innings, and he's used to having to make pitches more than one time through a batting order. So he's a guy that can get you through. If you have to use him in long stints, he's a guy that's used to doing that. So I think it makes sense if he's a guy that wants to move to the bullpen. I think it's a good move.
Yeah. Ty Floyd.
Not saying they will. Saying they will.
But Ty Floyd could really be a good bullpen guy for the future. I'm just not. I love that guy. I want to see him pitch every day if I possibly could. But that's probably me being selfish. So, I think of that group necessarily, if they were to do it, I mean, I think Stout and Williamson are the most likely. Yeah. If depending what it is.
Williamson's another one too, though, man. Like he's
good.
He's got really good stuff. He can get outs, and he's a guy that you can move there. And if you needed a guy to go 2 innings and get you 6 outs, he's a guy that can do that.
Yeah, I agree. And then here's this. So this is, I know how this is gonna go, but again, I pulled up Spot Track. I went to relief pitchers and clicked unrestricted free agents, and these are names that popped up. And just prefacing that these are guys who are going to be on the market. I'm 1,000% certain that 90% of these guys are probably going to sign back with the team they're currently on, but they're there. Josh Hader, I do not want. I would not. I'm like, look, I am team spend money. I am team improve your team. I am all that. Do not spend $18 million on Josh Hader. Oof. Do not. Oof. Please don't. Chapman, of course, we talked about that all year, so I had to throw that out there. Shintaro Fujinami, I think the Orioles will keep, but that'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome to have that guy in our pen? Chris Stratton, who was traded by the Rangers from St. Louis this year. I like him a lot. Brian Shaw from the Tigers, pitched for the Indians for a little while. Zach McAllister has kind of been, pitched for the Yankees this year. Daniel Norris, I'm definitely not excited about. And then Dylan Floro. And then, I mean, there's other guys out there. I really, really don't want like Craig Kimbrell, though he's pitched really well for the Phillies. It's just $20 million when you have Alexis Diaz already just seems stupid.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
But, Spot Track's not always spot on either. They're AAV. But so I'll go ahead and pull this up again here just so we can kind of get an idea of who else is out there. possibly, because if their teams get to them. But of course, I want Chapman for the sake of I think just that lefty to kind of be there in front of Diaz would be awesome. But whatever. Relief pitchers. Give me a second to do this whole thing.
I'm doing the same thing.
All right. So Will Smith would be awesome, but I think Texas is going to keep him. David Robertson, maybe you can convince the Yankees to not give him money because the Yankees are a shit show right now.
Yeah.
Drew Pomeranz, interesting. Matt Moore, meh.
Yeah.
Ian Kennedy, definitely not.
Yeah.
Jorge Lopez, not bad. And then let's see. Chad Green. I wanted Chad Green really bad for like ever. And then he was pretty stinky this year. So
yeah.
But he's got a club option for $9 million. Yeah, so Craig Kimbrell this year. Actually, okay. Will Smith AAV is 6.5 mil. If there was not an Alexis Diaz, I would love that. Roldis Chapman, they're saying 7.1. I doubt the Reds pay that for a setup guy.
Yeah.
But Chris Stratton looks a little interesting. Brett Suter, 2.9. Might do that.
Ooh, wow, that's not bad.
Might do that. I don't want Jordan Hicks. They're saying Buck Farmer is going to get 5.3 next year.
What?
That's the AAV for Buck Farmer on Spot Tracks.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
If it is, I hope it's not here. No disrespect to Buck. You're a nice guy. But
you cool and all, but 5.3 mil for Buck Farmer?
Yeah.
Nah, it's a hard pass for me, Playboy.
That's a no for me, dog. Oh, here's a funny name that popped up. Archie Bradley. Former Red for the COVID season for, I don't know, 6 outings. But a guy people were very upset when he moved on. What did they have for his AAV? They don't have an AAV.
They don't have one for him. Yeah, they don't have one.
And then Sydney asked earlier, yes, Hunter Strickland is listed on here. Would you be open? He's got a player option with the Mets for 6.8, so he's probably going to pick it up, but I'm sure the Mets will probably try to finagle that. Would you be open to Adam Ottavino? Look, we're just spitballing names at this point, guys. We know that this is very unlikely. So,
what do they have his AAV as?
4.6 looks like.
Really?
Dude, you know who I would kick the tires on? I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Give me Joe freaking Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because that guy's going to muck it up with anyone. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care at all.
I would like Andrew Chafin if the Brewers don't pick his option up because he's got a sweet mustache.
Yeah.
Ooh, Chad Green at 2.4 million is a little more enticing.
Whoa. Well.
But, the bullpen's probably where you can kind of get, the best situation of guys for a little money.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. I agree with what Carrick said earlier. So if there's 5 guys there, you got, we're looking at probably 2 or 3 additional players that they could possibly put on here. I think Chapman's probably a little out of the tax bracket for the situation for what other things they might do, especially if they do kind of extend any of these guys that they're discussing, any of the Ellies and McLeans and things like that. But Andrew Chafin, 3.5 mil, maybe 33, maybe. Good friend Justin Wilson, poor guy. I liked Justin Wilson when he was here. Thought he was pretty decent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names though. Matt Barnes for the Marlins, 2.7. Liked him with Boston. He's only 33. Yeah, but I'm in. Joe Kelly. All right, who's with me? Joe Kelly of Cincinnati.
Dude, see Joe Kelly throwing a high heater at a Pittsburgh Pirate? Let's go.
Ben. Ben,
Let's go. Listen,
you're speaking my
Joe
language.
Kelly's all in. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. So what if he's a former Cardinal? We can move on.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll never forget when he was pitching for the Dodgers and he struck out the Astros. And as he was walking off the mound, he looked at them and like stuck his tongue out at them. I was like,
Oh yeah,
my man, my man. Yeah. All right. So that wraps up the bullpen. Next week we're just going to go around the horn. So next week we'll go through the catching position, which I know is already set in stone. But we'll kind of just discuss that. But next week's our Halloween episode because it's that time of the year. So Ben, I'll ask you how we should do our special Halloween segment. Would you prefer we go A, what Reds player is most likely to dress up as what Halloween costume, or B, comparing Reds players to Halloween candy? So who would be the almond joy of the group?
I like that one. I like that one. Let's do the candy comparison.
All right. Next weekend.
I'm in for that.
Next Sunday night. I also do want to go ahead and get a heads up and get this out there. I did get approval for the Sunday night of the Bengals-Bills game for us not to be on air because we would have no one here. We'd probably lose money that night.
Good call. I was going to say, yeah, good call.
So
I told you we should have did a pre-recording and just record. Look, we're coming back with the Drew Stubbs interview from here we go.
Yeah, if I was like better at editing, I would do like a best of for the year.
Yeah.
Because I would love to chop up the Drew interviews and the Jumbo interview.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so November 2nd, we would know. That's not the date, is it?
Hold on.
I don't know. Sydney said she'll be at the game. She should know. November 5th.
5th, there you go.
Yeah, we will not be here that day. We're going to take that night off and replenish. I think the World Series is over that week anyway. So perfect. Well, I think other than that, Ben, I think we might be able to wrap this one up.
Yes, sir.
All righty. So first off, thanks everyone for hanging out and all your insight. We definitely appreciate it.
We love you guys.
Please preference. Again, make sure if you listen to this later, do not tweet at us, yelling at us. We said, are these possibilities? We did not say these were going to happen. We don't want to hear it.
Nope, not at all.
But if you want to say, I enjoyed the conversation, it was very insightful, we do appreciate that. Yeah, let us know. So if you are listening or watching on YouTube and you have not subscribed to us yet, please do. Boomed in subscribers this week, Benny.
Yes,
Boomed.
I saw that.
Holy mackerel.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Shout out Joe from the Bengals show and all his hard work making that happen. Really appreciate that. So before we do get out of here, let's know what's going on here at the Riverfront. It is that time of the year as we're getting ready for college basketball. So be sure you're checking out Riverfront U. NBA Friday has been really fun the first 2 weeks. As a passion project show, people are digging it. So I like it. Once football season's over, I'll get you over to hang out.
Oh, yeah, man. Can't wait.
My headphone wire just went out. We got all this time without any technical issues. We got to the 48th minute. Hey! Old friend 48 minute.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be doing that. Ryan's going to have an update on UC's loss to Baylor this week. Maybe talk a little bit about Big 12 Media Day. Yowza. And I will be starting pretty soon with getting ready for the Xavier basketball season. So,
oh, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, on behalf of Ben, this is Tim Daniel. Make sure you're checking us out. Make sure you're checking out the Riverfront Primer on Friday with Chad and Nate as they answer all your other questions about the offseason and sometimes do it with Anchorman quotes. That was a good episode. I liked it. Joe and Greg should be back this week getting you guys ready for the Bengals-Niners fiasco. Not excited about that game. It's not going to be very fun. It's going to be pretty painful. But thank you guys. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.